Hopefully. Hi, welcome to TS Paranormal Productions. I'm here with Ghostly Gatherings from the UK. You guys are, I'm probably butcher this, Leighton Buzzard?
Leighton Buzzard.
Leighton Buzzard, it wasn't too bad. And that is a little north of London. I looked at the map here. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves and talk about how you became a group?
Okay. My name's Emma. I'm the founder. I set it up about 6 years ago, and it's slowly grown over the years. We now have a group of 18 to 20 team leaders, so it's getting bigger by the year. This is Neil and Tracy.
Hi. Hello.
You guys have been with me about a year now, haven't you? Yeah. But I've still got some of the original team as well on board. And we kind of take it in turns, depending on where our events and our live streams are, and whatever's convenient for those involved. They come along and do their thing when it suits them, really. We're very laid back and relaxed about it all.
All right. So 18 members, that's a lot. I mean, it seems like a lot of groups now are going smaller. Does that help you being so big, or?
It does, because we've all got day jobs. So there are times when some people can't do it because of family commitments or work commitments or other sort of stuff, holidays and that sort of thing. So it always means that I've got team members available on the night.
You guys do a lot of like private investigations for people then?
Yeah, we do a few. I often go in and do private houses. I go and do some house cleanses as well for people. So it's not just the investigation side of it. I also do the house cleansing and stuff like that as well.
Okay, so let's talk about UK a little bit. You're my third group. Third group from the UK that I've had the privilege to have on the show. I know you guys probably haven't been over to the United States or anything, but you guys have so much history, everything jam-packed right there, it seems like, compared to what we have over here.
Yeah. Leighton Buzzard itself is probably 1,000 years old. It's an old market town. It was mentioned in the Domesday Book. And the town itself is coming up for about 1,000 years. So that in itself has got the most amazing buildings just on our doorstep. And you both, you're in, where are you? You're in
Little Gaston, which is a village. We've got Ashridge House there, which dates back to about 13th century as a monastery, and then Henry VIII changed it to a house when he dissolved the monasteries. So it's been a sort of very large part of that area, because it's now used for many different things, including sort of as a management college, but it's also open grounds and everything. So it's some really nice area around here, nice places to go and look around. We're rather lucky.
Yeah, I mean, you guys 1,000 years old. We celebrate bicentennials, like 200 years old. That's what we celebrate over here. I mean, it's funny to me how much history is over there. Obviously, always a big dream of mine to get over there sometime, if I can get it by the wife.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different feel to it, I think, because of the age of it. But then, a lot of the spirits may well be. I mean, we do quite a lot around the Second World War and things like that as well. So it doesn't have to go years back. I mean, we probably aren't. If we go too far back, we won't understand what we're saying anyway, because obviously the language has changed quite a lot over the years. So you go back to Shakespearean language and that sort of thing, it's quite hard to sort of decipher it or understand it. So they probably have the same trouble with us if we're talking to spirits. So sometimes it's quite good just to talk to people from the 20th century or 19th century.
Have you guys ran into that? Because we don't run into it over here. Different languages coming across, like EVPs and stuff like that.
I mean, I think it's something we have to bear in mind, because Anglo-Saxon is very different from the language we speak now. So if you go back to the 14th, 13th, 14th century, I expect we'd only understand some of the words that they say, and likewise. And I think the way we speak as well has changed a lot. So I think we probably talk a lot faster.
Not only that, we went to Wales, didn't we? The Skirrid. We had something come up in Welsh when we did the Skirrid in Wales. And it wasn't until we got home, we actually, I can't even remember what it was.
Something for Mother.
Yes, Mother's Day. And the day before it was actually Mother's Day. And we didn't know what it was until we got home and looked it up. So we have got that Welsh, you know, a different language completely.
Okay. Yeah, that's
English.
I want to go to Wales. That's where my family's originally from, is Welsh. I'm like 80% Welsh or something like that. But
me too.
Never been there, but sooner or later. No, it's interesting because I don't know, it was a long time ago. I was watching a show and they were, I think, in Germany and they were getting like American EVPs, and people question it because they spoke German, and they say, oh, when they do EVPs, it comes over as what we can understand, which this was like 20 years ago. We didn't have Google Translate then, so I don't know how that works. That's why I was just wondering if you guys get different languages.
We haven't used Google Translate. I think we used that as a Skirrid a little bit, didn't we?
We did, yes.
Yeah, we did use that. And that is a tool we can use of something like the Welsh language. I mean, most people now that speak Welsh, I don't think that, you know, they speak English as well, so they probably understand everything we say from that point of view. But, you know, obviously if they speak in Welsh, it's important for us to be polite and sort of be able to reciprocate that if possible.
I do wonder though sometimes with spirit whether it is actually you don't need language as such, it's more the intention of what you're trying to
if you're picking up on something,
feelings and stuff like that.
Do you guys use a lot of like equipment, like EMF detectors, and you know,
because I think as Tracy said, you know, you often get feelings and emotions more than probably words. So you get that kind of, when you go to somewhere that you feel there's something there and you feel that presence, and they maybe communicate through touch or feel or just sort of
making you feel a certain way.
No, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, EMF and REM pods and everything, it's kind of like universal language, I guess, for spirits. They can touch it and we can understand that they're there. So no, it's interesting over there with a different language.
It is exciting when you do get EMF responses and REM pod responses. It's exciting for the people that are at the events and that sort of thing. But, you know, quite often it's the more subtle things that make the biggest effect to us. Because, you know, we kind of have probably more of an understanding of it or more of a feeling when we're there. You know, you suddenly feel your hair stand up on your arms and that sort of goosebumps and that sort of thing. You suddenly almost sort of feel a presence.
We kind of have a mixed feeling on some of the equipment though, don't we? You know.
Yeah, we're becoming more and more sceptical about it as time goes on.
Certain things, words.
I mean, we don't use apps at all. I just don't think they're worth bothering with. But we have a Hexcom, which is obviously poor man's Ovilus, but we don't get a lot on there. We've had a couple of hits, but I don't know whether it's
tied in like really quite well.
When we're doing a board or something like that.
But sometimes it's more like.
But we kind of use the Hexcom as a way of actually prompting questions rather than using it as proof that we've got something. It's a much easier way of just continuing the conversation with the spirit if you've got something in the room at the time.
Yeah,
so kind of like a starting point type stuff.
Sorry?
Kind of like a starting point, like
yeah.
So I read on your Facebook that you guys have empaths, mediums. I forget the other word you guys used. So, I mean, 18 people, you have to have a lot of like empaths, and do you have psychics on your group too, or?
Yeah, I'm a psychic medium. I've also got another lady who's psychic medium. We've got a few empaths, we've got a few clairvoyants, one clairaudient. We are a mixed bunch, but then we've also got a few that have no gifts whatsoever, and I think they bring something much more important to the group, and that is that they keep us grounded when we're going off getting really excited and they're not feeling anything. It kind of makes us stop and think, right, okay, let's step back a bit, let's just see what we've actually got, and it keeps us on a level, because we do want to be genuine. We don't want to take people down a path that may not be completely what we think it is. So they kind of give us that grounding, don't they?
Yeah.
They don't, it's good to have all sorts on board.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you have to have your skeptics. I mean,
Yes.
It's sensitive. So can you explain to me, because I've heard of psychic mediums, I've heard of clairvoyant, but what is like the definition of someone being clairvoyant?
Clairvoyant is where they actually see spirits.
Okay.
So I do actually see them as though, like Neil and Tracy sat here now, I see them like that. I can walk into a room and they'll be sat there. So that's clairvoyant, that you can actually see. Whereas some people use their third eye and get an impression of something. I see it as a physical form.
Okay. So that has to be a lot for you, though, being psychic medium and clairvoyant. I mean, because you're going to feel
I'm walking around all the time, seeing all kinds of stuff, hearing all kinds of stuff. There are times when I just say, please just leave me alone. We have a spirit in our house called Marcus, and he's constantly on the go. Now, my son, he's just walked in the door, actually. He's clairaudient, so he hears things, but he's also an empath, and he picks up on people's emotions. And I'll often get a message from, oh, Marcus is walking around again. Can you tell him to go away for me, please? And it's just constant all the time.
So, I mean, a little off topic. What do you find the hardest to, I guess, deal with? Like empath, psychic, medium, or clairvoyant?
The empath is probably the hardest, just because your emotions can be constantly up and down. I mean, I can walk into a room and just burst into tears for no reason whatsoever because I'm picking up on that energy. And then other times I can just laugh out loud and be really happy. So it's just this whole up and down of emotions all the time.
I mean, thanks for explaining that, because I've heard clairvoyant before, but never really got a definition of it. But that's kind of cool. Like that word doesn't come up too much over here in the United States.
Okay. There's the different clairs, isn't there?
Yeah.
Clairaudient.
It's mainly psychic, mediums, sensitives over here. That's what they call it mostly. So.
Okay. Well, a psychic medium is somebody that has all manner of gifts, for want of a better word, but also I can actually communicate, and I can get words come through and actually get information from them. We did one at Buckingham Jail, which is in sort of about an hour's down the road, and I picked up on this lady, and I was having sort of like a mental conversation in my head with her. Didn't really think that much of it, but as I was getting words come through in my head, I was writing everything down. I then went off and I asked my father to do some research for me, and I actually found this young girl. She was the daughter of the governor who run the jail, and I got her name and her age and everything, and she was there on the census. So it's good to get all that stuff come through and then just go back later. We do a lot of research, don't we, afterwards, where we look at stuff and find out if what we've got is actually the truth, or whether it's just something that's been suggested to us. And we do come up with a lot, don't we? We do get stuff that's come through.
Obviously, not all information is recorded, so things will happen that we can't verify, but you often get these weird anomalies, don't we? That you can't really explain why that's happening,
No.
or why we get that information. And it's good to get just ordinary people involved with these things, because then they get to understand a little bit about what's going on. So we're quite open to having people using the boards with us, spirit boards, Ouija boards, whatever you want to call them, that sort of thing, so that people get involved with it. Not obviously if they don't want to, nobody has to do anything, but it is good to see just people learning how, and because we're not scared. I don't know why, it's not like being in a film or anything like that. You don't feel scared ever of these things. It's almost like most of the spirits we come across have a great warmth to them.
Yeah.
There's a real sort of feeling of joy amongst a lot of them, and that they're happy to communicate with us. That's what I always feel. Occasionally there's something darker there, but I think spirits are probably just like humans. There's good and bad in everybody, and it's probably just the same with spirits, but just Hollywood's probably given it this kind of fear factor. But I haven't found that at all. No.
That's as the TV shows and movies, I don't want to say ruin a paranormal outlook a little bit, but like you said, not everything is scary. 98% are just spirits that want to talk, have a conversation, and get their story out. I mean, that's what I look at.
It's probably the biggest challenge, actually, when you're doing an event for people that haven't been on a ghost hunt before. They think it's going to be like a TV show, and it's really not. There's a lot of quiet time and patience to be had. So that's probably one of the biggest challenges, do you think?
Yeah.
It can be, because we don't force anything. So if it's not happening, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So you can go to some places and it will be busy the whole time and things are happening all the time. You go up to other ones and there's barely anything, but we're not going to make things happen. If it hasn't happened, then, it's still an experience for people. And there's normally little bits and that sort of thing that will occur and we can't explain. And even if it's like the hexcom, the words coming through and people get interested in that and that sort of thing. So there's normally something happening, but we never try to force it. And that's the important thing.
One question, then I'll go to Tracy, but talk about clairvoyant, be able to see spirits. Have you ran into like residual where they don't talk because they're just kind of like a film replaying itself?
Yes and no. A lot of them are just residual, playing over like the tapestone theory, but I have actually had responses from some of them. I went to the cloisters in Letchworth, which is another sort of in that direction, about an hour away. And I walked upstairs into one of the rooms and there was a gentleman sat there at the table and he was drinking a cup of tea. And when he saw me, he literally got hold of the cup of tea and he went like that at me as if to say hello, drunk the tea, and then he disappeared. So he knew I was there and he actually responded to me. So although you do get a lot of residual stuff happening, they can actually acknowledge that you're there as well.
That's cool. That's interesting. That's cool though. I mean,
it's probably one of my most favorite things that's ever happened to me, because you got that recognition from them back and you don't often get that.
The question could be as to what they see of us.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're limited in what we see. We don't all have the powers that Emma has. I'm more of an empath and I feel buildings and things that have happened in places. I can feel instances like that, but I can't visually see like Emma can. But, all those different things do come together. So you do get, working as a team, that we can make these things kind of understand and bring it together.
No, I mean, you're putting pieces together to make a story. I mean, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to. Yeah,
that's it, because we can piece together things that we feel, and kind of one of us or all of us will feel something, or sometimes it's just one or two of us will feel a presence or happening, but we respect all our different views and all our different things, and that's important, I think, of working as a team, that we respect each other.
And we all learn off of each other as well, don't we? Because we're all, it doesn't matter how long you do this for, you will always be learning something forever. I know my views, I don't know about you two, but my views have changed over the years. I mean, I've been involved with spirits since I was a child, so it's always been around me. But if you had asked me 10 years ago my thoughts and what they are now, that's slowly developing into something different because of experience and things that we've actually had happen to us. And I think everybody's constantly learning. There is no right or wrong.
No, I mean, the thing with the paranormal world is you got to grow as a person and you have to grow as a team, right? I mean, that's what you guys are doing over there. We see it some here in the United States. A lot of it's not, it's their way or no way type stuff. And the teams I try to work with kind of seem like growing, learning from each other, being a better investigator, because, the end goal is to get, spirit story out there. And some people forgot about that here. So it's a difference
they
between
lose their way sometimes, don't they? And what should and shouldn't be done, what their main end goal is. And that is to prove to everybody out there that what we see is actually happening.
And also, we have to be respectful to the spirits.
Yeah.
I think that's a key thing for us, is that we are very respectful towards them. We appreciate the fact that they're communicating with us. So I think we have to pass that over to them, because if they're going to spend time or whatever or energy communicating with us, then being respectful and not pushing them. I've been to a couple of other events where they were very pushy towards the spirits, and almost threatening them and accusing them and that sort of thing. And I think, that gives it all a bad name. I think, you have to be respectful.
Oh, definitely. So Tracy, you're quiet back there. So
I'm always quiet. I am the quiet one.
You're the one that just kind of observes everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to hear.
So what got you into the paranormal and joining this group?
Oh gosh. I don't know. I've always had an interest, even from a teen. There's always been something. I could never put my finger on it, but I was always really interested, but also really scared. So anything I was experiencing, I'd shut it out. It's like, no, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. And it was only sort of recently I thought, no, because I've always watched the TV programs. I've done all that, just interested in history. And I just thought, no, I'm going to go on a ghost hunt. And I was not dreading it. I was looking forward to it, but I thought I was going to be terrified. I thought, I can't do this. I'm going to be so scared. And just fell in love with it, didn't I? Mm-hmm. And then, can't stop me now. And I let everything in. I'm like, I'll experience it. I had something touch me on the back of the arm at the Skirrid, didn't I? Yeah. That did make me jump, but it was okay. It was all right. Yeah. So, it's just sort of grown from there, really. But I couldn't really say what actually got me into it. It's just grown.
Yeah. Has your fear gone down by doing more now?
Yeah, I can even walk around in the dark now without being scared. Apart from the other day here when we were trying to talk to Marcus. I thought he was going to come out on the stairs. Yeah. I did put the light on then. But otherwise, my fear has gone down. I haven't had anything to really freak me out just yet.
No, I mean, that's good. I mean, I think fear is some of it. I mean, I think some spirits feed off fear.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to have someone that's, I don't want to say fear, but a little nervous, a little scared.
Oh, yeah. I think you're always a bit nervous.
I mean, because, let's be honest, if we were spirits and we saw someone a little scared, you're probably going to go touch them or something, to see what their reaction is.
Yeah, for the fun factor.
Yeah, that's fine. We always ask them to anyway, don't we?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, like, para-unity is huge over in the United States right now. I don't know how it is in the UK. Working with other groups, and do you guys work with other groups or pretty much stick to yourself? I mean, you have a huge group anyway, so.
Yeah, there's so many of us. I think it's really difficult to then actually do something with anybody else. I would never say no to anybody that wanted to work with us. I know you had Emily Paranormal on a little while ago, and I've been chatting to Emily for a couple of years now, and she's a lovely, lovely girl, and she's going to pop round for a cup of tea, and maybe we could do something together with her. Another cup of tea, the British and their tea. So yeah, I'm.
She does make a lovely cup of tea.
That's nice.
So I would never say no to anybody. If anybody wanted to come along, I'm always open for the whole para-unity thing. I think it's kind of, there are teams out there that it's all, they're very protective over what they've got because they've worked so hard for it. And being such a small country and having so many teams at the moment, I think it's kind of lost its way a little bit. And people are frightened of losing what they've got, so to speak. It's just, I find it very hard to use the word para-unity because I sometimes feel that it's used for the wrong reason. And that's kind of all I'm going to say about that. But I would always, I would always join anybody with open arms to do something together. Because again, you're learning off of people. You're passing information backwards and forwards, methods, equipment, what they prefer with their equipment that they use. It's all a learning experience for everybody.
We do have people from other groups come and join us.
Yeah.
Not particularly invited, but they come to see what's happening. So they want to pay an event or whatever, and they bring their own things with them. And generally, it's quite nice to have them with a different aspect, as long as they don't try to take over.
Yeah. We've had that a couple of times as well, haven't we? Yeah. Which can be quite difficult.
Another challenge.
Yeah.
But, on the whole, it's quite nice to have people that have done it and understand what we're trying to do.
So we do have, like, over here, there's your relatively small events company.
Yeah.
But there's some big companies out there that have got bought into little teams, haven't they? And sort of they take a lot of the custom, don't they?
Yeah.
Sort of
I was actually headhunted by one of them a few years ago, and they offered me all kinds of things to get involved with them. And I thought about it. I'll be honest, I did think about it, but when push came to shove, I just thought, you know what? It's not fair on all the smaller groups that, they're taking over and they're taking away the fun for everybody else because everybody's struggling to buy equipment and all the rest of it. And there's some
more of a money maker for them, isn't it, rather than an actual.
They haven't got the passion. I would say that because it's not their, I say business for the want of a better word. The passion isn't there, and it's just they just tick over. It's just a tick over. They have all the best venues, don't they? Yeah. Because it's so expensive to hire anywhere, and it just leaves us little groups. And I'm not talking about us, but all the little groups in the country. It leaves them to one side, and everybody's struggling at the moment to actually be able to afford to go out and do stuff. And it's wrong. It's really wrong.
Yeah, it is. We're starting to see that over here a little bit. Not really companies buying places, but more wealthy people buying places and charging so much to go investigate. We have been lucky with the bigger places like Trans-Allegheny and Mansfield. I don't know who else. There's a lot of big places over here that the owners of those places keep it low, for us to be able to go still investigate because they're just trying to keep the history alive. They're making a little money to keep the buildings upright. That's what they're doing. So been lucky, but you're starting to see more a business of it than what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So little groups I think are better. Smaller places I think are better. I think people are too tuned into the big ones that have been on TV. I think more like the smaller houses or the pubs or whatever you call. I find them more fascinating than going to one that's been on a TV show before just to say you did it.
Yeah, we've got we've got 30 East Street up north here, and I won't go there simply because there's been so many teams in there. And it is just a money-making thing for those that own the house, and I just won't pay the money just to go. You know, it's just so wrong. It's so wrong.
I think that's nearly let out every single night.
Yeah.
Teams.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many nights where it's not let out to a team. So it's just a moneymaker, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys heard about the Annabelle doll, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the comedian Matt Rife bought that house,
Yeah.
Lawrence house. Yeah, I mean, from my understanding, it's $4,000 a night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you have to pay for them to review your footage.
Yes. Yeah, it's $500 or something, isn't it, for the footage as well, on top of what you're already paying?
Yeah, I mean, no small team's gonna do that.
No.
I mean, there's no way. I mean, honestly, I don't care if I had the money. I don't think I'd do it, just out of purpose. I mean,
yeah, best keep that money and come over here.
Oh yeah, trust me, I'm trying to get over it. I have to convince my wife, who hates this stuff, maybe take a vacation.
There's a lot more to the UK than just this. There's loads she could do.
Yeah, I mean, Emily Paranormal was nice enough to say, "Hey, I can walk you around some places," because I mean, she's out every day, I think, and I was trying to tell my wife, like, "Hey, we get like a free tour guide, like we can go over there, and maybe I can disappear for a night or two." But
yeah, she has the most wonderful life, Emily. I said to her the other day, actually, in a message, I said, I'm so jealous of your life. You're always out doing stuff. Every single day she's doing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. She was my first person from the UK on. I kind of just emailed her because I've been following her. And, I told her, I'm like, you're living a life that we want to live out every day. And she just doesn't do paranormal. She does history. And when she told me why she does it, I mean, it's pretty impressive. Her mom being sick and her mom wanting to see what she's doing. So she just went Facebook Live just to have her mom watch her do this stuff. Then it just took off. I mean, I think it's unbelievable. So we'll talk about what you guys said earlier is teaching other people. So you guys take groups around, try to teach them paranormal.
I mean, it's not so much teaching, but we hope that that's what comes out of it.
Yeah.
It's more of a subtle, the teaching part, or helping people appreciate and understand what we're doing rather than it's some kind of scare fest.
Yeah.
An experience. It's an experience they want to have. Some of them have done it before. Some people it's completely new to. So it's trying to get them the best.
It's amazing how many people out there have got equipment and are geared up, goodness knows with what, when they come out. And I guess they just want some direction and some.
Or the venue.
The venue, obviously is part of it. But I mean, I think having a team is quite good, makes it more interesting for people. I think if you go to places on your own and that sort of thing, or maybe one or two people, it's probably a lot harder to get that energy up. So we find that humor and things like that can get things going. I think a lot of spirits like that energy, like that positive sort of energy that comes with humor. Quite often we're laughing and then something happens, a tap or a bang or something that we can't explain, just from that energy that we're creating. So I think, when you've got groups together, that energy can really have an effect and bring more out. So, it's that kind of get those people feeling that this is not just about jumps and bumps and scares. I mean, sometimes it has happened. Sometimes I've seen people really freaked out by what's happened, and they will, it's maybe even a life-changing experience for them. They've all of a sudden they do believe in something that they perhaps didn't believe before they came to us. So you do have that. It's quite exciting when you see somebody really kind of like almost shocked or have that kind of experience where, you know, that they start to question what's going on around them?
Yeah, I had a group of 5 guys turned up once. We was at Moot Hall in Bedford, and they were all skeptic. They'd had a couple of pints on the way there because they were a little bit worried and they didn't really know. But none of them were believers, and they actually left at the end of the night having had the most amazing night. And they booked up the next morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, the next lot of tickets, because they were blown away, and they all went home saying, "Thank you so much. You've really taught us a lot. We completely changed our minds now about the paranormal world. We were wrong."
No, I mean, that's awesome that, you know, you can show people that there is spirits out there. They're not bad. You can talk to them and they'll talk back.
Yeah.
The one thing Neil,
that's the thing, you know, it's not, as I say, we're not scared. It's not about scaring people or things like that. That can happen just simply because they're not expecting anything.
Yeah,
and things
normally
happen.
The people that have come for a bit of a laugh and they don't take it seriously, you know, and then
and then all of a sudden you see them completely change.
You know, something happens that they can't explain, we can't explain, and then you know, it does change people's minds.
And for me, that's the best thing of doing this out of all of it, because I've had spirits around me all my life. I've kind of, oh yeah, that's happened, this happened, and I kind of take it tongue on cheek sort of thing, because I'm so used to it. My excitement now isn't from the spirits, but it's actually watching the guests that arrive see something for the very first time, and you see their face light up and you see them get excited. That for me is what this is all about now. It's just wonderful to see somebody have an experience for the first time. I love it.
No, Neil, you said something that kind of caught me. 2 words: positive energy. I think that's huge in a paranormal world, about how you go into places. I mean, you have to be positive. And there's too many groups out there that are just looking for that negative energy, and they bring negative energy in with them. Do you think that plays a huge effect of what type of spirits are coming out?
I don't think you're going to get spirits if you're going with a negative energy, to be honest with you. I think you're making it up if you do. I think the positive energy reflects on everything. So even if it is perhaps a darker spirit or something that's got a bit of a grudge or whatever, I think, you know, that energy that's coming will affect all of it. I think if you go in and you're almost feeling like nothing's going to happen, or you're not, this looks like it's going to be quiet and that sort of thing, that's what you get, you know, because you're not up for it. You're not creating the energy that spirits need to respond to. So yeah, I've never gone into with negative energy, so I don't know what that feels like. I hate negative energy because I'm an empath. Anybody's got negative energy around me, it really affects me. I hate it. So, you know, there's nothing. I like to laugh. I like to have a joke and make things fun for everybody. And that's the way I approach it. And I think spirits come back from that. I think, you know, you do get a response.
You always know as well, if you've got somebody in the group, if you go back to somewhere 2 or 3 times, if you've got a negative person in the group that you're taking, you have a completely different night to what you had previously. I mean, I know that every night can be different, but you just don't get as much. You don't get a good enough night.
No, and they won't get anything. They won't get anything out of it at all, because they're not open to have an experience. You know, you can have people like we were talking about who come in and think it's all going to be a bit of a laugh and a joke and that sort of thing, but they're still open. You get people that come in and there's no way anything's going to get to them, because they've come in with a completely closed mind. And you're not, even if you like drum up a spirit to stand right in front of them, they're probably not going to believe what they're seeing. You know, think they're faking it or something, you know. So it's not, it's important that people come in and are able to have an open view on things, whether they believe or not. Let them, you know, have a be there to have a response and see what happens. I mean, you can make things happen, you know, and without us forcing anything, and things happen and people won't believe what they're seeing. You can't take that away. You can't change that. But, you know, for those that are willing to accept it and understand it, even if they don't believe it totally or whatever, but to have an experience that they can't explain, or they'll go tomorrow morning when they go to work and they'll talk about it with their mates, and, you know, even their mates are like, "You're silly," or whatever, but they've had that experience. You can never take that away.
Yeah, I mean, that's what personal experience is. You never can take that away. Positive energy type. I had the owners of old hospital on College Hill on West Virginia. It's an old hospital built in the 20s, shut down now, but they were talking about during the day they'll have like kids in there doing tours. It's a history tour. It's not paranormal, so they just go do the history of the hospital, the town. I mean, that town used to have 25,000 people. It's down to 3,000 now because it's an old coal mining town.
All right.
But, you know, the owner said that when someone comes in that night for an investigation, the spirits are, I guess you say, ramped up a little bit more, a lot more consistent, a lot more. And that's probably because of the children being there and being a hospital, bringing joy to those patients, you know, because back in the day, you know, I always said, like, when grandma was in a hospital, she always smiled when grandkids walked in the room. So
Yeah.
kind of the same concept, bringing that positive energy into a place.
Sorry, 1 minute.
No, it's all good. So
Yeah. No, I think it is important, and I think because quite often we feel that we get children spirits when we're out, and it's quite hard, because sometimes you feel if we do boards and things like that, and you get like weird responses, they're not really going to letters, they're not really, it's moving around, and you start feeling that this is a child. They're not really following a thing, and I think it's more emotional. You feel a much more deeper feeling when you've got children on the other end of this. So I'm sure they feel the same. There's children around and that sort of thing, because children do bring a natural energy, and I think they're unspoilt. They don't have the same sort of barriers, the same sort of things that we put up over the years, protect ourselves from everything that goes on around us. And I think the children are so much more open to having these experiences. My youngest son, when he was little, it was scary, the things that he could come up with and he'd see and he'd hear, and, you know, it's kind of like, I think he's put it to the back of his mind now, but at the time it was almost quite frightening, the things that he'd say or say he'd seen and heard and that sort of thing. But I think it's just because children are just so much more open to having these experiences. They don't understand probably what they're having, but they don't have these barriers that we all put up. So they're just so receptive to the things that are going on around them.
Yeah, I don't think also with the negativity in the world, you know, it's not affecting them as much as affects us right now.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, we have a lot to deal with as we get older, and different things happen, and, you know, you find yourself, certainly when I was younger, like my son, I had a lot more experiences with this type of thing. I didn't understand it, and there wasn't like the real look at it that we have now, the real understanding of it. When I was a teenager or younger and I was having these feelings, I just, you know, I didn't really want them. I didn't really want to try to understand them, because it wasn't normal. It wasn't viewed as something that, you know, you should have. So, you know, it wasn't till later, when I have much more confidence in myself and in what I do as a person, that, you know, I was willing to accept that this is something that I have always had, and I need to be able to get it out and use it.
All right. Let's so Ouija boards look down in the United States a little bit as kind of like witchy, I guess you want to call it, you know,
Yeah.
dark. How are they portrayed in the UK? Just as a tool, or?
I think, you know, we do get everything that you get. So, you know, everything that happens over in America and Hollywood and everything like that is here. So I think that's what people's main impression is, that it's something to be scared of, something to be intimidated by. So, you know, I think that's the first thought.
But we do have a lot of people that come along and say, "No, not doing it. I can't do it. It's too scary." You was one of them.
I was. I would touch it. I'm not touching that.
Yeah, they'll sit in the room and they'll just watch for a little bit, and they'll see what's going on, and then they realise then actually it's just another tool. It's no different from table tipping or divining rods or any of the other equipment. And then they'll jump on the board and they'll go home and say, "Oh, I loved it. It was brilliant. I really," and that completely changed their mind about it.
But we do use it with respect, and we do open and close it down properly. And I think that does bring a bit more confidence.
I'd have to say that I'm not a massive fan because I think it's very easily manipulated.
Yeah, that's work on that.
You know, that's my problem with it. Is, you know, I don't understand why some people come along and want to make things happen. So whether it's instinctive, whether it's something that they don't mean to be doing, but you know, you can tell sometimes that somebody's trying to push it around the board, and you know, that's what frustrates me about it a little bit. Is I do find that some of it muddies then what we're getting. Because sometimes you can get fantastic responses, but you're left thinking, "Oh, was somebody doing that?"
That's more like when we're doing an event, like guests.
Not
guests, not like us. We don't, you know.
No, but you know, on the events, it's just see some people come along, they just want it to happen. So whether they're doing it deliberately or
suggestion,
just
Sorry, that's my cat's tail there. I apologise.
It freaked me out a little bit. It's all the way back there, just a tail. I'm like, what is going on back there? Yeah.
It's
That's why I start laughing. No, I mean, Ouija boards, dowsing rods, I'd like them, but like you said, too much human interference, I believe. Influence.
So what do you call me, Emma?
Rod Man. That's his nickname.
Yeah, so I love the dowsing rods because I find that they're very simple for everyone to use. And if you use them correctly, it's not easy to manipulate them. You can see if somebody's manipulating, and I haven't really noticed it that much because they're not actually holding the metal, they're holding the plastic, the metal's turning. And I get so many good responses with it, asking questions, somebody else holding it, getting those questions going. It really has a good response with people because it's so simple to use. And I think if there are spirits manipulating it or they're able to manipulate it, it's very easy for them to use the energy to move those rods. So I find it really useful and a good way of getting people involved in what we're doing.
Going back to the children, you had really good responses, didn't you? At where was it? The school,
British Schools Museum in Hitchin.
Yeah, and you had children.
Yeah, and it really blows people's minds as well. You know, there are people there, were having conversations with the pupils or whatever. People at the school, they were having these conversations, and everything made sense. You can close the rods, and then people can see it happening. Yeah. And there's no strings involved. It just happens. I don't know. I can't explain it, but I normally double up on a question. If we get a positive answer, I'll say, "Well, can you open the rods now?" After you cross the rods, and they will. It happens, and I don't know if it's the power of people's minds or it is the spirits, but it is fascinating to watch.
Yeah, I mean,
I've come to really sort of feel that it's something that I personally can get a real amount of information and positivity out of.
I've used dowsing rods. I do like them because, like you said, you're using them. There's no one else touching them. You're not manipulating them. So yeah, I mean, they are good tools. I probably should get back into them a little bit. I've seen some videos though. I've seen some team, not my team, but other teams like hold him up like this. Oh, it's pointing at me. I'm like, oh, no. Then I've seen one video where it's spinning around and You can see the girls, ladies going like this, like,
Yeah.
yeah, come on. Like, so no, but I did have one team member back in the day, and we had a very good dowsing rod. It was the first time we used them. I borrowed them from one of the guides, and this was 6 years ago, and he will not touch them ever again because of the responses he was getting. Like, he just got freaked out from them. He's like, he actually just took them, threw them toward me, and said, "Never again," because of the responses he was getting. And it was good. I mean, it was fun. We get so wrapped up in electronic devices, I think, that we
I was
forget.
going to say that. I think the most, the simple pieces of equipment are actually probably better than the really expensive electronic things. Because some of it costs so much money. It's just unreal.
Yeah, I have piece of equipment that's $400 that I've used once. I mean,
yeah, it's just crazy.
And we have an SLS camera, but we don't. I don't like using it because it just triggers so easily.
Yeah.
On anything that looks remotely human, it finds a shape.
Yeah. And I've actually proved that in an event when we was at the I think it was at the Cromwell. Everybody got excited, and like I say, we don't bluff anything. And I was at the front of the room, and they were all watching from behind at the back of the room. And I just walked over to the table, and there was a bag on the table. I picked the bag up and put it on the floor, and this image completely disappeared. And I just said, that's why I don't like them, because they can just give so many false readings all the time.
They're so big. It's just so really massive.
I think the electronic things definitely things like EMF meters can really trigger things and make people start to ask questions and sort of feel like there's something going on. I think that sort of thing really does help. But I think we're never going to get totally focused on that, because the things that have been tested for years are the things that really, get people going, that they're interested in.
I quite like a cat ball. I think the
I
cat
like a
balls
cat ball.
can be really impressive, and
just simple.
Just sitting there, and then it goes off. It's like, especially prompted.
like EMF detectors. You need EMF for it to go off. It's simple. REM pods, you have to break the field for it to go off. It's not like the obvious or the PS device where supposedly they manipulate the EMF to create a word.
We had this conversation the other day, and I just said, "Well, how? I just don't. I can't get my head around it." So it's like,
I mean, interesting. They're fun to use. I mean, it could be a good start, to an investigation. If nothing's happening, break out the obvious, maybe get some words that can create, start your investigation and get more evidence that way, or responses. I don't know. I mean,
have you ever used Novulus and actually got something that's tallied up with the history of the place and got the words come through?
No.
Okay. There's your answer, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you can manipulate the words to what you ask a question like, who's here? And it goes outside, so you're like, oh, you're outside. I mean, you can spin words all you want. I mean, it doesn't.
The only one that we had that I thought really, really blew my mind was at the Skirrid Inn. When I had the word stones come up, we were in separate groups.
Yeah.
And then, I thought that's a weird thing to have. Could be a surname. I don't know. So we swapped groups, didn't speak in between, did we? Because we were on different, sort of time. And then you had the stones thrown at you in the same room. That was weird.
Yeah.
That's the only time.
In fact, I had stones thrown at me all night, didn't I? Because I woke up in the morning and I had stones in the bottom of my sleeping bag when I woke up the next day. Bizarre.
The weirdest thing, wasn't it?
So what's your go-to equipment for everybody?
I personally love a board, but I only love it when I'm with people that I know very well. For me, it's my own body, because I'm psychic medium. Excuse me. I don't actually need any equipment, but I know there are people in the room that do. So I'm just happy to just sit there and sit and feel what I get. If I was to use a bit of equipment, then it would be the board that I would go to first. Just because you can get so much information from them.
Neil?
No,
Have you not got a go-to?
I don't really. I mean, like you, I do like the board. I don't really have anything, because I'm the same. I'd rather just sit there quietly.
You started doing the pendulum, haven't you?
Yeah, I've started doing that with the crystal pendulum, but I do like to sit there, which you can tell because I'm quiet. I like to sit there quietly to see if I can hear anything, feel anything, just soak up whatever's there. But equipment-wise, I wouldn't say I've got a favourite. I'm open to all of it, really.
I think I've already answered mine.
Yeah. You look like you're thinking pretty hard over there, but yeah, we know your answer already.
But it's just that it can even people that have been to a lot of events, because we had a group that went to our last event, and there were 5 experienced sort of ghost hunters, and they didn't use the rods very much. And we got so much response from it that they were really sort of blown by the effect it has, because they had all the electronics and all these different bits of gear. Didn't really get a lot out of that, but my God, did those rods move for them.
They did say they were going to get theirs
Yeah.
out the packet now.
But yeah, it is. I just find it so simple to use and so effective, and I think that's why I like it, because I'm quite a simple person. So if it's simple, it's all that much better.
Yeah, I use a digital recorder. That's my main go-to.
You always forget, don't you?
What was that? Sorry.
Yeah, for EVPs, digital recorder. Yeah.
I mean,
It's something we need to do more of.
Yeah, definitely.
I do way too much. So I have my recorder going the whole time, because you never know. So
yeah, I think for us, because we've all got day jobs, we haven't got the time to sit down and go through it afterwards. So if we haven't got time to go through it, there seems little point recording it, really, because we're not going to.
Can I just ask, Brian, what's the sort of best thing that you've had from that?
I've had a couple really good ones. What was the one in Madison Seminary is pretty big up here. Those are some of my best EVPs. I had one of my group members never did an investigation before, so we took her, and she wasn't part of the group then, but she was scared. So we took her up into the attic. It's a huge room. A cat ball went off like 10 feet behind her. She jumped. She got scared, screamed, everything. She was done for the night. We went back probably 2 months later, and I said, you need to go do a solo up there and just face your fears. She wouldn't. She took her girlfriend up there, and she was explaining that what happened to her, the cat ball, and how she jumped. She actually tore her calf muscle jumping the first time. Yeah. So as she was explaining, this female voice went, I did that.
Oh wow.
Wow, that's brilliant.
That's made me go all goosebumpy.
Yeah, I love that.
We really must do EVP.
Yes, we must.
I've got a digital recorder, but I don't know how to use it.
Another one that just happened.
Did she jump when that happened? Did she hear it, or did that just come out in the EVP?
Just came out in EVP.
Wow.
I kept it in my pocket for like 2 months until we did a podcast, and I had her listen to it. Yeah, she was a little freaked out by it, but
I bet.
A cool experience. Like, yeah, I did that. So then I had another.
She clearly has more going on than she probably realizes. I expect she probably senses a lot more than perhaps she wants to let on. So
one of the coolest ones I just got was in Madison again, in the back rooms. Pretty dark history back there, what they used to do to patients. I was up there with a couple guys and just talking in a big room. Then we had 2 investigators come up that just like to talk, and they were just talking, and they walked in the back, and a female voice came over. We didn't have any females back there. And it goes, will someone please talk so they will leave? Right over the recorder. And I was like, what? So I was listening to them, like, will someone please talk so they will leave? That's what this female, spirit said.
That's incredible.
Kind of like telling the other spirits, like she was shy, like, hey, will you talk so these two people that won't shut up leave? Because they were loud and they were everything. That was a pretty cool EVP. But again, with EVPs, I record 30 hours on our trip and maybe a minute and a half of EVPs total. So it's a lot to go over, but I enjoy it.
What do you think, Brian, that they see of us, the spirits? What do you think they get from us?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's kind of like humans. Everybody looks at us different. I think some out there want to get their story out. And I think some just want to be left alone. So I think some look at us like not your group or me, hopefully, like, what are these idiots doing? I mean,
I do sometimes wonder when we go to places which have been very overused, perhaps sometimes, and I do wonder if they just think, oh God, not that again. Go away, leave us alone, sort of thing. But and we do ask that question. If you want us to leave you alone, then let us know that as well. So they've got the option.
Yeah, that's one thing I do. You ask, and if they say, I'm like, hit that REM pod if you want us to leave, and it hits a REM pod, we're gone. Like, we're leaving.
Yeah,
or
and that's part of the respect thing. You have to understand that they well, I don't know. That's why I wonder sometimes what they see of us or hear of us, because I don't know if it's just our souls they see or if they see us as shapes. Well, some of them do and some of them don't. So I've asked a few times, because they quite often have had different responses when Emma's come to see what our group's doing and that sort of thing. And they sort of see Emma perhaps more than they see some of us because of her. I don't know, her power or whatever. They seem to see her as a brighter image than perhaps they do other people.
We've actually had them refuse to speak when I've been in the room before now, haven't we?
Yeah, we had that.
Yeah.
Because they're almost like startled, because this is all of a sudden this is something that really comes across to them that they see. And when she left the room, we have actually asked on the board, what did that figure impact you? And then they started talking again, and they just sort of said, it was a bright light, a brighter image that startled them. And so I do think probably see us in different ways.
Yeah.
And I think if you're again a negative person, then they probably don't really see you. If they that negativity, they probably just see maybe a dot or a nothing. Whereas I think the more open you are and the more you're with it, they probably see that much more of you.
I mean, that's interesting because, a lot of people think like spirits are in a different dimension, than we are. So if you're in a different dimension, are they seeing us like we're seeing them and vice versa? Like,
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? We assume that they're seeing us because we're in the now, but their now could still be the now to them, if you're with me. So we're maybe interrupting their dimension. So they're just with people like Emma can see them, whereas we can't, but they can see Emma more than they can see us. They maybe hear us, or they maybe feel us, our emotions, very similar. But I don't. That's one of the things that I find fascinating as to what they get from us. So as usual, we have more questions than answers.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. That's why it's fascinating.
No, it is. It makes you think.
But I would like to think that because of that we had with Emma when they came into the room. She came into the room and it went completely silent. Everything that was happening just stopped, and we just asked after she'd gone. Did you see that figure brighter than us? And that, it was a sort of reconfirm that this was something that actually shocked them.
And it wasn't just in that building, was it? We've had it twice now in two different places that's happened.
So, you know, that made me consider as to what they see. I think, you know, a normal person they'll see as maybe a shape, maybe a spirit, maybe a figure. But I think, you know, obviously somebody that's closer to that realm, they'll see a lot deeper, a lot more contrast in their world, in their dimension.
It's going to make me think now for a while. So, man. So talking about like you having to leave the room sometimes, do you guys find that sometimes like a female team compared to a male team will get more responses in certain locations?
Oh yeah,
we had that.
Yeah,
cellar
we had a brilliant one actually.
Women.
we had a spirit in the cellar in a pub in Leighton Buzzard, and he was contacting with the women but not the men. So we were using the rods, and if a man went on, he didn't want to know. As soon as a lady went on, it was moving its way and that way. He was answering all the questions. He was having a laugh with them, and he just enjoyed talking to the ladies.
The ladies, man.
Yeah, he just seemed to really enjoy it. But it was really odd how that happened. We got a lot of information about him and what happened to him and lots of different things that were through the night. It was very interesting. But I think this depends on the spirit, I think. And I was asked this question by these ladies here as to whether they think the customers have more respect for men, which can be a help. But I just think it's the person, you know, just think it was how we deal with it.
It's more as if you're taken more seriously as a man, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, because there's more women that are spiritual than men. So, yeah, it's just without sounding sexist, because I hate to.
Oh, here we go. I'm always outnumbered, Brian. Help.
No, I just think if you've got male investigators and you've got people turning up for an event, I think they're taken much more seriously than women that can be perceived as being a little bit hairy-fairy and like head in the clouds type of thing.
Which we're really not.
Which we're not.
Not at all.
But I do think men are taken more seriously in the paranormal world. Don't look at me like that.
I don't know. I think it's very equal.
Yeah, I think it's.
I think.
Deborah Lynn asked, "Why do you think a dark spirit would hang around?"
Unfinished business, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's the same, be it dark or light. I think they've got something to say. There's something that I haven't completed in their cycle.
So we have Fairfield County.
I just think that's the reason. You know, they don't want to leave because there's unfinished business.
Yeah, I mean, we have one place here called Fairfield County Infirmary. There's supposedly a spirit called the superintendent there, which was in charge of the whole place. It kind of feels like he's there because, like, he was the man there. I mean, it was a poorhouse, and it was not well. I guess it wasn't a nice place to be there. So I don't know. It feels like to me that he's there because, like, he's in charge and he's not going to let anybody else be in charge there. That's his place. And, you know, he's pretty dark. He's pretty angry, I guess. I mean, you can call him. Women have a lot of experiences there. And I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with this, but, you know, we're investigating places from way back in the day. Men were superior. That's what they were looked at.
Yeah.
Women were inferior. So that's what I think. You have to have a good mix in your group of women and men.
Yeah.
And I mean, Neil, you look like a pretty big dude too. So I mean, I'm sure when you walk into a place, some women's spirits might be like, you know, hunker down. You know, again.
Well, I think, as I say, I like to think that my humor and my positive energy is the things that they're going to respond to the most.
We sorry, we have a place called the Sun, which we do regular events at. And upstairs, there's a gentleman in there called John, and he's quite a big burly man. And there's also a lady in there who was his mistress, for want of a better word. And he doesn't like any men talking to her. And if you're on a board, we did a live stream once on a board, and we were talking away, and one of the men actually got on the board, and this guy, John, he stepped onto the board and he just got really angry. So we had to take the guy off the board and carry on, and we then had to close it down because he just did not want anybody, any man, talking to his lady, and he kind of controlled the whole night. He wouldn't let us do anything if there were men involved.
Yeah, sorry, I'm reading some comments.
I think also I've had spirits joining in the joke. I mean, I remember one time I said something really stupid, and after I said it, asked a question, I realised how stupid the question was, and I just sort of like, oh, I'm really sorry. That's really, and the thing was pointing at me. The rods when they were holding just went and pointed at me as though you are an idiot. You know, I was just like, yeah, you're right. And you know, I do think that they respond to humour, and I do think they respond to that positive energy, even if it's a negative spirit. I think you can outdo it. I really do. I really do think that you can, if you're positive.
Well, they feed off your energy, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
your positive energy is going to be more powerful than your negative.
Yeah, I think so.
So, hey, Central Michigan Paranormal. And Deborah, we'll get to your question in 1 second. But yeah, so Neil, do you think that it, like you being a big guy, like I said, but you're a positive guy, does it take a little bit for them to warm up to you? Then you start getting some responses?
As I say, I don't know what they see of us. So I've not really had that. I think normally I get quite a good response quite early doors. You know, I don't think that is an issue. I'm not an intimidating character like that on these events. You know, I have been told that I'm scary at times.
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
But you know, these people will know that I'm not. I'm just very gentle, very gentle soul, and that's what I think comes over.
No. So Deborah asked, what do you think that would make a dark spirit feel somewhat intimidated because of a person's size? And would it make them want to interact with that person more? I'll answer that. No. I think you're talking back in the day, these men preyed on women because they were women. But I think if a guy stepped up to them, they're a bully. I mean, in my opinion. So I think if a guy stepped up to a male dominant spirit, they would hunker down, most likely. I mean, that's what I feel. We get that at Madison a lot, that they will mess with.
I think they can feel our emotions.
Yeah.
I think they can feel the way we are as people. And I think that probably overrides what we look like. So, yeah, I mean, I've had it where what I feel are younger spirits, I prefer to speak to younger people. And perhaps they find the older people more intimidating, or the older energies. I think we just had that, didn't we? That young lad took over from his dad, didn't he? And he got lots of response.
Oh, yeah.
Because we thought it was a young female, and she seemed to be willing to speak to the son, but not the dad. And I think, you know, sometimes that what the person that they relate to the most is the person they're going to contact. So I think that can happen.
To how they see us. So if they don't see our physical body, they're not going to see like how big or small you are. It's just on your energy. That's how I see it.
Have you ever had a spirit talk to you? And Emma, you can probably answer this. You know, talk to you, then another spirit won't let them talk anymore.
Yeah, it happens quite a lot, actually. If you've got more than one spirit in the room, one will dominate the conversation. Without a doubt, one is in charge and the other one sits back. and listens. I'm just trying to think again, that obviously at the Sun, but we had it at the Skirrid as well, where we was in, there was a spirit in the bathroom, and there was one in the front, in the main bedroom area, and one was shouting obscenities at us because we were talking to the one in the room.
But that was also a courthouse as well. So back to what you were saying earlier about the courthouse, the judge is supposed to be haunting there, isn't he?
Yeah.
The hanging judge.
Yeah. So he's obviously quite a figure.
Because people were hung from the beams in there, so it's quite a kind of energy hotspot.
Yeah.
So
There's an awful lot going on there.
You're going to have stronger spirits and weaker spirits.
Mm-hmm.
And you did get one that was taking over.
Yeah. He was some of the words he was coming out with was actually quite bad. Shouting them.
We're doing one location where it was part of the Underground Railroad, and there was 3 kid slaves there, and they were very, I guess, open, felt comfortable. My niece was there. She's 19. Kept tugging on her shirt, like, hey, how you doing? Then I sent 2 women down there because I figured, being back in the day, with slaves, I shouldn't be down there. See if they get more responses, and they did. We went back a 3rd time with the whole group, and it got pretty dark down there. Like a male dominant spirit came up and was pretty much, you don't talk to those kids. They're slaves. They're mine. And my niece actually I had to get her out of the room because she back pain, something was stabbing her in the back, and it was pretty bad. She got overwhelmed there. So, so let's talk about one thing we haven't talked about, and that's the Estes method. It's kind of big over here. Do you guys use the Estes method over there?
We do. I'm usually the one on the spirit box because not anybody, the rest of the team kind of find it hard to listen to. Some of them, don't they? Not all of them, but you need practice on a spirit box because otherwise you just don't know what you're listening to.
I struggle with it.
But we actually did a live stream beginning of this year, back in January, in an old cellar. And we were doing I was the one on the spirit box, blindfolded, headphones on, and I actually lost 2 or 3 minutes.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, I went into a trance, and I had to be brought back round again. I have no recollection of what went on. I have absolutely no idea where I was. I didn't even realise I'd lost any time. I thought I was time was just going along normally.
You were answering questions previous to it.
Yeah. We were getting a lot of. I can't even remember. Was it a gentleman in there? Because you were doing the rods to start with, weren't you? And then we decided a spirit box. But yeah, that's never happened to me. I've only ever done one lot of trance meditation, and I didn't like it, and I said I'd never do it again, and that was voluntarily. This just took over, and I had no control over it whatsoever, and it was quite worrying to think that if I was here on my own doing that, who would bring me back round again? It was quite a scary thought to think that
Halo would
Halo, yeah, he'd just bite me. So yeah, I love doing it, but I have learned that it's not something to do on your own anymore.
No, that's probably not a good idea. But talk about alone. Do you guys do solos?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you guys believe in solos?
We do try and do something. We've got there's a place that we're going to hopefully book up next year, at the beginning of next year, and they've got this little library, and there's a lot of secret door that opens up in the wall, and then you go into this little secret library, and we're going to take it in turns to go and do solos in there overnight.
This is news for us.
Did I not
Surprise.
mention?
I'm probably more of a chicken to do solo.
I shall be in there anyway, and I think Helen's got her name down already, so there'll be a few of us doing it. But that'll be really interesting to have a go.
No, I mean, some people believe in them, some people don't. I'm a big believer in solos. Just because a lot of places we do investigate, hospitals, sane asylums, all that. Most patients were left alone. So they're used to one other person, the nurse or the caretaker coming in. It was just a one-on-one interaction. So that's why I do solos. Plus, I like the fear of it, I guess. I like walking into a dark basement with no flashlight and just asking questions. I was just wondering, because some people like them, some people don't.
I mean, to be fair, I've got Marcus here, so I spend my whole time just walking around. Oh, for goodness sake, Marcus, stop it. And I have conversations with him, and he just wanders off and does his own thing. So I've actually got that going on in my life every day as a solo, because most of the time my son's at school. So it's always going on, but it doesn't worry me at all.
Yeah,
Tracy.
It's really like gentle and nice.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
If you were going somewhere like a bit sinister,
yeah,
I think that would be a bit more scary.
I'd quite like the adrenaline rush. I think though, if it was scary, I think that would be something that I've not experienced for a long time.
So Tracy, you doing a solo in a library?
We'll see. Watch this space.
She will. She will.
Yeah,
she will.
With my eyes closed, probably.
if everyone else is doing it, you will.
No, yeah, I'll be brave. I'll have a go.
I mean, I'll put my vote in that you go in first.
Thank you very much for that.
Yes, you can go in first. But just let us know how it is. Yes.
No, we start off every investigation with a solo walkthrough. If it's me, or I'll pick someone that's willing to do it, just to walk through the place and get a feeling for it. They're not really investigating. They're just going through, see where they, feel the most off, I guess you want to call it, energy. If they want to stop and ask questions with the recorder, they can. Most likely they're running through the place. Then they'll come back out, tell us, hey, this room, or here, it felt really bad here. I didn't want to walk into this room. And that's how we start usually our investigations, just to get the feel for the place, and let them know the spirits. Like I was telling them, hey, we're here. This is your place. We're just visitors. We're not here to kick you out. This is your home. We just want to get your story out. And if you don't want us here, let us know. So that's how I start my investigations. So
I mean, some of them we do, don't we? I mean, the British Schools Museum, we went all for a wander on our own and had a walk around. A lot of the places we do, they're like pubs and hotels, so there's always people milling around. So we have to go off into areas where it's quieter. So we don't really get that atmosphere like if you walk into somewhere that's dead silent. I mean, we do have those places, obviously, but a lot of the places we go to, they're still working until 10, 11 o'clock at night. And then once 11 o'clock comes, we then have the place to ourselves. And then it's quiet. So we've already started investigating for sort of 2-3 hours before that happens.
That's cool. So, I mean, like hour 20 into this.
Do you lay down things like protection spells, Brian, things like that? Or
I do not. I'm not. Sounds bad. So I'm not a huge believer in like crystals, protection spells, sage. I believe my faith is what protects me. So
do you think that's general in America? Is it not something that's looked on? Because over here, things like crystals and major kind of
crystals and sage, it's huge over here.
Yeah. Okay.
That's pretty big. Right now, and I just had a group on, I think earlier this month, they're Christian based, paranormal married couple. And I find it very interesting because I don't know how it is over there, but being religious and doing a paranormal is kind of looked down upon.
Yep.
It's starting to get a little more recognized. I don't know. I mean, I'm always open about it. My faith is what keeps me protective. Positive energy keeps me protected.
I think over here we found it's increased the almost friction between religion and spirituality. It's like it's a threat to them. So they try to distance themselves from it as much as possible.
I also think we've had such bad press with religion the last 20 years or so that I think that people are going from religion to spirituality.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
As an atheist, I don't have a faith, so I have to find something as a protection thing. And being spiritual, I just find that protection prayers are the go-to for me because it continues in what my beliefs are. Whereas, you know, if you have a religion, you've already got that protection there, because it's all about working with intention, isn't it? It's that intention thing. Whatever your intention is, whether you're religious, spiritual, or nothing, that's what you use.
I mean, everybody believes in something, whether it's that they don't believe in anything, they believe in that. But it's because I mean, there must, you know, I believe there's something bigger than we are, because if there isn't, then what are we bothering to do all this for? And that's part of the reason why I would like to get some answers along the way.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I don't know what it is. I mean, everybody's got their own idea of religion, but a lot of them cross over. You know, we seem to find religion brings barriers between people, whereas a lot of it just crosses over so much that if we look for the similarities, it would, you know, it was so much better. But, you know, I think there is something more, and I think what we're touching on here is part of everything that religion is.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I have people in my group that do crystals and sage. I have no problem with it. I'm not against it. I think your belief is your belief, and that's what protects you. I'm all for it. Like, I've heard of protection prayers. Do you have a certain one you use, or is it depends on, I don't know what they are. I'm not going to lie. So, I mean, protection prayer, like, do you have a certain prayer you use, or?
Yeah, I do a protection prayer at the beginning of every event, every live stream, every investigation, every house. And I ask everybody involved to do that. And it is something actually that was used for the world's largest ghost hunt. I don't know whether you ever got involved in that, did you, some years back?
No.
They had a number of psychic people that developed these prayers, and that's the one that I use.
Okay. Oh, it's interesting. I mean, again, like, I'm a big believer in whatever your belief is that's going to protect you is going to work. I mean, that's what I think. I mean, I always say, like, there's people out there that, like, their grandfather gave them a lucky penny and they can't walk out of the house without their lucky penny in their pocket because they feel off. I think that's the same thing. Like,
yeah,
I'd have to say Emma does a closing down prayer, and I've missed that a couple of times because I'm still finishing with something or clearing up or whatever. And I've felt different when I've got home. And I can't put my finger on why that is, but I do sometimes feel that I'm bringing stuff with me, and I can feel terrible the next day. I can feel absolutely exhausted, mentally, physically exhausted after doing a session on Saturday night or Sunday. I'm pretty much a goner for, you know, I'm just asleep. Because they take so much of our energy from us when we're doing this, it does feel like our energies are drained. And a lot of our people that are there, you know, just the people that are visiting us or whatever, you know, they'll have the same feelings when they leave. You know, people are drained. They'll say how tired they are. I do think it takes a lot of energy from us. So I do think having a prayer, even if it's something that it helps ground everything. It helps us bring us back to where we were before we started.
No, I mean,
I just, you know, I mean, as I say, as you said, everyone's different. Everyone has a different requirements, but I find comfort in Emma's doing those prayers.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people on the show that said they taken stuff home before, like spirits, attachments, or whatever. Luckily, I don't believe I have ever, and, you know, hopefully I never do. So, I mean, that's the goal. It's not to bring anything home. My wife would kill me, but, you know, every time I'm about to go on investigation, that's what she tells me: don't bring anything home. But I mean, there's, I have a team member that likes to stage, and I have no issue with it. Do I get saged? No, because I don't believe. I mean, if I don't believe in it, it's not going to help.
No point doing it.
No.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if there is anything in it, it's no harm in doing it.
Yeah, true.
I mean, just because you don't believe in it, somebody else believes in it. One of you could be right, one of you could be wrong. So there's no actual harm in having it done to yourself, because you might not be right.
No.
That person might be right.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I should start. I don't know. Like, I was never a big believer in crystals. I did an investigation where the lady was very into crystals and very scientifically into crystals. Everything about them. She studied them for years, knew every single the 50 crystals she has, what they did. And I'm not saying she made me a believer, but got me more interested into them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're energy. I mean, they're part of this earth, so they bring energy. So that's cool. I mean, I always love people's beliefs, and I've always wanted to do more shows on people's beliefs, because I believe every religion, whatever you said, religion's widespread. Whatever you believe in, that's what fascinates me in the paranormal world, especially when it comes to protection and what your beliefs are. So that's all I got to say about that. I mean, that's.
We're just trying to protect you, Brian.
No, I'm cool with it, man. I mean, so did I ask this? What's one? I always ask, what is like one, I guess, bucket list place that you guys want to investigate?
Mine's easy. Winchester House.
The what?
Winchester House.
Oh, Winchester. No, I haven't. I've seen many shows about it, but no, it looks cool though.
Yeah.
So, of all the history you have in the UK, you want to come to America?
Absolutely. We're actually planning a trip, aren't we, in a couple of years' time to come over, but we haven't decided where we're coming yet. We're still in the debating bit.
Well, the problem is with America is we're so spread out.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking about this with paranormal penny pinchers. Like, they get 60 places within 2 hours. You might have 3 in America.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to travel a lot in the U.S. to get to each place. So I'm like, you're talking Winchester House from my house. I mean, that's like a 6-hour flight,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're really lucky then, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say that, it makes us realise that we've just got everything just here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys have everything there, and we're all spread out. No, there's some cool places in the United States.
Have you got a bucket list?
I don't know about a bucket list. I've got quite a few places I'd like to do. I'd like to go to Chillingham Castle. I love the north of England. I really want to go up north and do some places up there. So that would be good.
So I mentioned mine earlier, actually, Ashridge House, because it's somewhere that I've lived near all my life, and I've been around a lot, but I've never been able to do an actual investigation there. It's such a busy place. They do so many weddings. And my son's one of the managers there, and I'm trying very, very hard to persuade him to let us loose, because they have crypts there that date back to the 1300s. The Black Prince has got an altar there, and the Black Prince, I think he must be about in the 1200s or 1300s. It's fantastic history, and I know it all so well, but I've not done an investigation there, and it would just be fantastic to be able to do it. My son is the same. This son is the same son that was when he was younger, had all these experiences, and he's had quite a few things happen there that he can't explain. And so have a lot of the staff. A lot of staff have seen apparitions and things like that. And so, yeah, I would, because it's not really been done that much. It would be fantastic to have a go.
No, I asked this question on every show. The most surprising answer I ever got was the Vatican. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to have a look in their underground and where they've got all their information and different things that are going on in there. They've got a lot of knowledge that isn't available to the rest of us. So that would be, that's why I would reckon that somebody will want to do the Vatican.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about religion and like paranormal, like split. But when someone has an issue, who do they call? You know,
Ghostbusters?
Yeah, Ghostbusters. No, I mean, when they have a supposed demon in their house, you know, they call a religion, the Vatican, Catholics. So why are we so spread on between crossing over religion and paranormal? But when they want protection, they call their church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
mean-
fear. It's a fear of it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of very religious people believe they know there's something out there. They just don't want to not believe, but leave them alone, I guess. I don't know.
The thing is, they believe in spirits, they believe in the Holy Spirit, so why are we not all, when we pass, our spirit leaves us, so they've got to be somewhere.
Yeah.
I suppose they don't want to believe they're still here, that they've actually crossed over, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
Some spirits say goodbye, don't they? They come and say goodbye.
yeah.
There's plenty of evidence that. I mean, I've even seen a thing where people's weight changes when their soul leaves them, and they've been done investigations to show that we do have an aura. So there is a suggestion that this will leave, and that maybe some spirits come and say goodbye. Maybe some spirits on that way get lost, or some spirits have got something left to say. But, you know, I don't think really there is a massive gap between religion and spirituality. I just think that spirituality is something that's questioning what is out there. We want to know the answers.
Yeah.
It's not just about having some belief in something that whether it exists or not. We want the answers to what it is.
My grandfather, he ended up in Cairo during the Second World War. And he was a very religious person, but because of all the atrocities he experienced during the war, he lost his faith. And him and my father used to have these huge debates about religion and all the rest of it. And my granddad actually said to him, when I go, if there's an afterlife, I'm going to come back and let you know. 2 days after he died, my father actually saw him at the end of the bed. And it was like, there, see, told you, there is. And he just disappeared. My father doesn't actually believe that it happened. He thinks he was dreaming. But I'm not so sure. I think he must believe it somehow. Otherwise, he wouldn't have mentioned it.
He would never have talked about it, would he? If
Yeah.
he had something in his mind.
Yeah. But my granddad came back to say, yeah, there is. And then nobody's seen or heard from him since. But that's the whole, you know, going from religion to spiritual beliefs. He was kind of, he lost one and became the other, and then just came back to let us know. It was a nice thing to do, I think.
Yeah.
And I shall come back and annoy all you lot when I go.
You definitely will. 100%.
Well, I mean, you guys talked about like unfinished business, and you know, he made a promise to your dad.
Yeah.
So, you know, he came down. Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Later, you know, love you later, and that was it.
Yeah.
So, no, that's cool. That's a cool story because I mean, yeah, you can make a promise and still keep it in an afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, so we're hour 40 minutes into this here. Keep saying I'm not going to do this, but here we are. But no, again, it was a pleasure talking to all three of you. Learned a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Really good.
Thank
Learned
you.
a lot. More questions than answers now. I got to look into about how they see us. Thanks, Neil. I mean, I appreciate that. If you ever come over to America, send me an email.
Will
try
do.
to-
Will do.
try- if I'm ever allowed to the UK, I'll send you one. But
Yeah,
I'm
do.
hopefully, I don't drink tea though, so I'm sorry. I'll go to the pub though.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's good. That's a good.
No,
And we'll
again,
keep watching
appreciate
as well. Like I say, I've watched a couple. Was it penny pinchers you had on before as well? Yeah, I watched a little bit of that as well. They seem lovely.
Yeah, I mean, all the groups over at the UK, like you guys are all about, I don't want to say teaching, giving people experiences. They do some charity work too, and just, spreading the knowledge of the UK and the paranormal, and just the history is unbelievable. That's why I always try to get UK members on. Try to get someone from Ireland on. They keep dodging me, but whatever. It happens. But yeah, I mean, thanks again. If you guys ever have anything coming up that's big, or an event that's coming up that you want to plug away, just send me an email. Come back on the show anytime. And,
Fabulous. Thank you.
Again, always a pleasure talking to you. Nice meeting all three of you.
Yeah.
And
thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm just going to hit this end here, and we'll probably talk soon. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.